Once we have Zenmap installed in our Kali machine, and we will need to run this command if you follow the instructions that I put above this video. And when you hit enter, it may take a couple of seconds, and you will see the graphic interface for this tool. Okay, here we are. Excellent. So to get a little bit used to this tool, I'm gonna just do this just for practicity to move to the terminal and back. Here we have some basic commands, so some basic features or fields that we can fill out before we run a scan here. The first one is target. Here we'll put the information about the device or the devices that we want to map with this tool. And then they are suggesting you to use one of these profiles. And we can talk about them a little bit later. But just for to make things quick and easy, I will select quick scan. This is something to be careful about. Depending on the profile and the targets, you will see that this will change. Basically, this is a graphic wrapper of a command line tool called Nmap. And basically what you do here is, depending on the profile that you select, if I change this to any other profile, and this will change. Basically, it will be crafting the command, the respective command on our behalf. Usually, Zenmap is a very good tool for first timers to get to know how this tool works, how Nmap works. However, more recently is more difficult to install Zenmap. So once you are more familiar with Nmap and how to craft these commands, probably you will find more streamlined to use Nmap directly from the command line interface. So yeah, now excellent. We want to start working here. However, we need to know what are we assessing, what are we or the target for our first analysis. So I'm going back to the terminal, and I can see that it doesn't seem like I can actually type anything here. And that's true, basically, because this terminal is busy running Zenmap, the tool that we just tell it to run. So here what we can do is to click File, New tab, and this is very similar to, I don't know, a browser, an internet browser, or some file managers, where you can just have different tabs and you can do a different thing on each one of them. Great. So in our second tab, we'll be typing this IP route, and when we hit enter, we will find this information. Okay, basically this tells us which IP address is our gateway, or we are connecting to the rest of the network and the internet through a device that is available on this IP. Okay, IP address. Usually this will be our router. This checks out, and it's interesting here to see that this in blue is the interface, the let's say the card, the internet, the NIC that this device is using. All of this is virtual, of course. However, it's also interesting to see for a little bit later that for the same interface, this is affiliated to this space. Okay, to a network that is having this space. But for now, let's take only the router, the gateway address. And going back to Zenmap, I will just paste this here, make sure that I have quick scan. That's the case. And you know what? Let's try our first scan for our router. It's very quick. It's a quick scan, and also it's just one device. And here we have this information. Okay, we were talking about ports earlier, because that's one of the best things that Nmap does, is to check ports in all of the devices. Here we can see a number of ports that are open. And it's up to us to assess if this makes sense or not. So for instance, this router has the port 22 open. This is usually for SSH. This is to connect via a terminal or similar devices to this router in this case. That's okay, that's expected. Also the port 53, it's open here. Usually the port 53, if we check the tables that we saw earlier, we will see that this is for DNS, usually used for DNS requests, which is kind of okay for a router. Usually many routers also have some form of DNS server that the devices connected to this router can use. Also, we'll see here the port 80. We checked this in a past video, and we say like, okay, port 80 sounds like an HTTP server, and same for port 443. So here could be interesting. I mean, this is a router. This is kind of expected that there's some kind of graphic interface. However, if you find this in any other device, you can just, as simple as opening a Firefox or a web browser window, and just type the respective IP address. Fix it here. Yeah. So enter, and here we are. This is the when it loads, of course, the administrative site of this specific router. Okay, will look different depending on the brand of the router and the model. So great, you will have that. Okay, and you may find other kinds of ports that might be suspicious or not. That, well, again, as always, the suggestion here is to check. Okay, maybe I will be interested into research more why this router have these two high number ports open. Yeah, maybe it would be surprising or not. Great. So now we have one of the scan for one device. Another other interesting things here is that once you have the results of this scan, you have here a couple of a number of tabs that you can also check. Same information, but really organized in a different way. The topology of the network. This is us, and this is the device that we are scanning. It's not very funny because it's only one device, and we can also ask for the details of that device that we are scanning. At this time, this is kind of boring because it's only one device. Okay. Also, you can in the left panel, you can have the host, and you will have here the list of different hosts that you are scanning, and also services. Okay. Again, it's kind of the same, it's the same information, but grouped in a different way. So probably the magic here will happen when you want to actually map the network you are in an organization, etc. And there are many ways to do this. So let's try a couple of those, or at least, yeah. Back to our terminal. I told you, right, that this internet or network interface is operating using this IP address as our gateway. That's a router, we already scanned it, but we want to scan the entire network. In that case, this here would be way more valuable. Basically, this is telling us that everything that is 192.168.0 and anything here in the last one from 0.1 to 255 might be a device that is affiliated to this network. Okay, in that case, I will take all of this, including this slash and 24, copy selection, I'll go back to Zenmap, and I just change the target. So now we will have it will try to scan the entire all the possibilities in that network. Okay, so when I do this, I again will make sure there is a quick scan so it doesn't take a lot of time, and scan. Excellent. Here, just to give you some context, you will see here this select control that I'm hovering and clicking. It will show you the different scans that you conduct in the same session. Okay, so I'm interested to go back here. Excellent, the last one, and wow, that was pretty fast. And here we'll see more interesting results. Here we have a list of, I don't know, a little bit more than 10 devices on that space. And here we can pretty much try to see each one and try to understand what is going on here. This might be very interesting to analyze case by case. Here, this is not news. Okay, this is a router, the same scanned device that we scanned previously, but I will maybe be interested in this. Okay, so here we have a device that had some ports that are filtered. Usually, this might have to be is something about might be something related to a firewall operating. Yeah, mostly it could be that. Okay, and so on. We can start like seeing other devices. Okay, we will see in the service that it's guessing. We can see some different things that we can again we can just check. Okay, we found a device which refusing connection to some ports, the 100 coast TCP ports. That might be interesting again to research. Spoiler alert: when you change the quick scan for more complete and comprehensive scans, you will see more information that can let you know what's going on. For instance, so mobile phones that are in the Wi-Fi network, they might show here. However, it's very rare that you find any open ports in cell phones, because we need to consider that the security in those devices is very, very good. Okay, and so on. No, maybe this is interesting. This IP ending in 162, it has FTP, it has HTTP. It had this seems very friendly to a printer. So maybe we can check if this is a printer or not, even without doing a lot of more research on or running more dedicated scans. And as I told you, this device has a 80 port open. So why not just try this IP address in our web browser? I'm pasting here, I'm hitting enter, and something happened. And indeed, this is a printer that is connected to the network and offers an interface to do whatever thing they want to do. No, but that is helping us to understand better which devices are connected to the network, and so on. You can go to this another, and this is the same one from before, 165. You can also see here some data. If I recall correctly, in this case, these are when I see this, I'm looking at some Google Nest devices in this network, but after the first time I saw this, and it was like a little freak out, and after reviewing, oh, there's a couple of Google Nest devices in this network, and so on. This is another printer, but probably in organization you won't know. You won't know what is every device. You will need to probably conduct a more interesting and deep analysis, and so on. In this case, it detected 11 hosts, and that's it. 13 seconds, and we can also see the same information per device. Same thing, but when we have many devices, it's a little bit more interesting to see. Honestly, I never have done anything useful with this topology view. However, you can pretty much play with it and see what you can find here. And host details could be more interesting when first you have more devices, you will see probably more information. And when we see more detailed scans that we can conduct, we can also see operating systems and some services that they might be running here in these devices. Okay, great. um, and another thing, in the left panel, we'll have the services. We usually are in hosts. Now, when we are in services, we will see the different services. And when you select one, you can see which devices are running different services. So, for instance, if I'm interested in HTTPS or HTTP, I can see specifically which devices I might be interested to research more, or maybe I know already what they are. Excellent. Um, Before finishing this video with the first getting familiar with Nmap, it's important to know that many of these scans, especially the more intense ones, are sending a lot of different packages and requests to all of these devices. So it may be aggressive for the network, and depending on how intense are your scans or how many devices you have in the network, it might put some burden in terms of speed and performance in the network. So please, if you are in an organization and you believe that the software, the network, sorry, the infrastructure is not very new, is maybe sold, maybe the speeds are not that good, you might disrupt the speed of the entire network by doing these scans. So please, one, as always, permission. And two, try, if you are doing this during regular operation, try to do this in an hour, in a time of day where it's not too crowded or it's not too critical for some other processes, okay, for the organization. And another thing that could be interesting to know is that if instead of IP addresses, you put here a domain name, like a website, for instance, it will try to run the same scans, but to the web server. And given that I just said that this is sending a lot of different requests, we need to be careful, because in some cases the web servers will treat us as an attack, as a DDoS attack or something like that. So please be careful. Please ask every time for permission. And yeah, that's it for now. In the next video, we'll be exploring more commands to conduct more comprehensive scans, like to know operating system versions, to know about more ports, or to know about the version of some services that might be also useful during our audit process.